When you take the historical background, so this abacus is the first device which is used for the calculation. We cannot say exactly when this was developed and who has developed this, but we consider abacus is the first device which is used for the calculation. And then 1642 and 1644, this Blaise Pascal, he is a mathematician, French mathematician, and he's a philosopher. He developed this mechanical calculator, which is used for adding and subtracting the values. So this mechanical calculator called as Pascaline, which was developed by Blaise Pascal. He is a mathematician, and this device can do only the addition and the subtraction. So it doesn't have any electronic parts, has only mechanical components, and he has developed this Pascaline as a help for his father, because his father was a tax collector. For him to make the calculation easier, he has developed this Pascaline called as basic Pascal has developed this one called as a Pascaline. So the Pascaline is the first mechanical device which is used for the addition and the subtraction. Then later, from 1646 to 1716, this Pascaline was improved by the Gottfried Wilhelm von Leibniz. So what is done by the Leibniz? This Pascaline was extended to do the multiplication and the division. So then it is called as step reckoner. So this Leibniz has improved the Pascaline so that it can do the multiplication and the division. So that is then called as step reckoner. And then the punch card. As you know, these computers are working with the binary number system, just 0 and 1. Then initially people were thinking how these 1-0 patterns are inserted into the computer. For that, this punch card is used, where they create the holes to represent the 1-0 patterns. So these 1-0 patterns are representing in these holes in the punch card. So this punch card was developed by the Joseph Jacquard for his mechanical loom. But later this punch card is used to input the data to the punch card reader to the computer. Therefore, all the programs are written in the punch card by creating a holes. So then remember the name of the person who developed, because in the A-level papers sometimes they expect these names. Therefore, you need to know who has developed this. So the punch card was developed by the Joseph Jacquard. Then the very important person in the computing we call as a Charles Babbage, 1792 to 1872. So this Charles Babbage is the person who has considered as a father of the computer, because he developed the two engines. What are the two engines? Analytical engine and the difference engine. These are the two engines developed by the Charles Babbage. Now remember, these engines are not computers actually, they are engines. What do they do? These engines are used to solve very complex polynomial functions, or we have very complex functions. These functions can be solved by using these engines. So then that is we call as the analytical engine and the difference engine. So then if he hasn't developed the computer, why are we saying he is the father of the computer? So he did not develop any computer. So then why do you say he is the father of the computer? Can you tell me the answer? Because he was in between very old time period. At that time there were no any computers. He developed only the two engines, difference engine and analytical engine, which is used to solve very complex mathematical equations. Then why are we saying he is the father of the computer even he hasn't developed any computers? Remember, we are saying that one because Even he did not develop computer, he developed the concept. What is a concept? We know these modern computers, we have the input devices, output devices, processor and storage. But those four components were there. He is the one initially used this input, process, output and storage. He is the one who initially used those in the this analytical engine and difference engine. That is why we consider father of the computer as Charles Babbage. Even he did not develop the computer, he developed the base on which modern computers are working. So that is why he is considered as a father of the computer. And then we'll come to the first programmer. So the first programmer is considered as the Ada Gusta. She is considered as the first programmer who developed the program for the analytical engine. Then this IBM company, as this is all currently available, that is developed by that organization developed by the person called as Herman Hollerith. Initially, he developed this international business machine for the 1890 US census calculation. He developed the machine where the inputs are done through the punch card. Then later it became a very large company called as IBM. Currently this is available. And this Alan Turing is another person who developed this Turing machine. Now he is considered as father of the computer science. Remember, Charles Babbage is a father of the computer, but the computer science, which is kind of high level with compared to technology, it was developed by a person called as Alan Turing as the father of the computer science. Then there's another involved development, this Harvard Mark I computer. That computer was developed by the Professor Howard Aiken in the Harvard University, which is we call as automatic sequence control calculator. So those were developed by the professor called as Howard Aiken. Then we'll come to the most important development, ENIAC. So this ENIAC is the first electronic digital computer. And the first electronic digital computer is ENIAC. ENIAC means electronic numerical integrator in the computer, which was developed in 1946 for military purposes. This one is developed by two scientists named as John Presper Eckert and John Mauchly. They are the two people who involved to develop this very giant computer. It's a very big computer which is working in the vacuum tube. So remember, most of the time the exams there were some past application regarding this machine. So this is the first electronic digital computer called as ENIAC, which was developed by John Presper Eckert and John Mauchly. Because these names also you need to know. MCQ questions, we will discuss some past applications where they ask the names, the ENIAC. We have another very important person in the computing called as a John von Neumann. He developed the von Neumann concept, or what we call the stored programming concept. Now he is the one initially proposed computer memory can be used to store both programs and the data, and time to time this program the data can be changed. Based on that, different programs and the data can be executed on the same memory. He is the person who initially proposed this concept. That concept we call as a stored programming concept. The idea behind the stored programming concept is in the memory. So in this memory, both program and the data can be stored, and this data and the program can be changed time to time. When you change that, you can do different application, or you can execute the different applications time to time in the same machines. So initially people were thinking the machine is dedicated for one specific application, but he is the one who proposed this memory can be changed time to time with different programs. Therefore, same computer can execute the different program for different purposes. So based on that, he developed his own computer based on his concept, stored programming concept, which is we call as a EDVAC, Electronic Discrete Variable Automatic Computer. So this EDVAC is the first computer which is based on the stored programming concept. So then remember, EDVAC is the first first computer which is based on the stored programming concept. So that is developed by the John von Neumann. And then this UNIVAC was developed by the same people who developed the ENIAC. But the problem with the ENIAC is not portable, which is unable to move here and there because it's taking very entire room of the organization for the computer. So it is not portable. So then what is done by the two scientists, John Presper Eckert and John Mauchly, what they did was they developed the computer which is portable, which can move here and there. So which is we call as UNIVAC, Universal Automatic Computer 1, UNIVAC 1. So which is developed by the same people, John Presper Eckert and John Mauchly, and this is the first commercially successful computer, is the UNIVAC, which can move here and there. Then the this Z3 computer, which was developed by a German civil engineer called as Konrad Zuse. This Konrad Zuse has developed the computer called as Z3. Now, what's the specialty of this computer? Remember, this Z3 is the world first programmable computer. So, the world first programmable computer is Z3, which was developed by the Konrad Zuse. So, then remember, the world first programmable computer is Z3, which is developed by the Konrad Zuse. And then we have this ABC computer. So that name ABC comes from the Atanasoff Berry computer, because that computer is developed by the two people called as John Atanasoff and Clifford Berry. So based on their parts of their names, that is called as ABC computer, Atanasoff Berry computer. Now remember, this computer also digital computer and electronic computer. Actually, this is developed before the ENIAC. ENIAC is developed in 1946, but this ABC computer developed in the 1939. However, we don't consider this as the first electronic digital computer. The reason was it was not fully functioning. It was not working correctly. Even it was developed in the 1939, it is not working well. That is why we don't consider this is the world first electron digital computer, because it is also electron digital computer. So these are the two people, John Vincent Atanasoff and Clifford Berry. So the EDVAC computer I have already explained to you. The EDSAC is a second computer which was developed by the John von Neumann. So EDVAC is the first computer. Remember, EDVAC is the first computer which was developed by the John von Neumann based on the stored programming concept. Then the EDSAC is the second computer developed by the John von Neumann based on the stored programming concept. EDSAC stands for the Electronic Storage Automatic Calculator. Then we'll come to the 5 generations. Now this computer history divided into 5 generations based on the technologies, the main technologies they have used. So this 1946 to 1956 time period we consider as a first generation. Why do you consider as a first generation? Because in this time period the main technology was vacuum tube. Vacuum tube is used as a main technology to develop the computer. So their input device was the punch card reader. Punch card reader is input device. And this vacuum tubes initially developed by the person called as Lee De Forest. He is the person who invented the vacuum tubes. Remember, in the first generation, we have the two programming languages. One is a machine language, other one is assembly language. Now, basically, machine language means the language which has only 0 and 1. Therefore, if you can write something in the machine language without any translation, machine can understand it. Then the program look like this. It has only 0 and 1. Now this program can be executed directly on the computer because computer can understand the 1-0 patterns. But as a user, when we see this code, we can't understand what is there. Nothing is we can understand. Therefore, they develop the assembly code. In assembly language, they have the assembly codes. Where what happened for each machine instructions, corresponding assembly code were given. So then the assembly program will be like this. So then you can see this assembly program is much more readable. We can see the load, add, like, then you know these are some instructions. But when you look at this machine code, we can't understand anything. So that is why in the first generation we use the assembly language to write the program. And then the assembly code should be converted into the machine code. So that is done by the assembler. We have software called as assembler. Using that, you can convert the assembly code into the machine code. So we'll discuss these things in detail when we are looking at the programming languages. So these are the machines in the first generation: ENIAC, EDSAC, EDVAC, UNIVAC, IBM 701. These are some machines in the first generation. Then what are the characteristics of the first generation? They generates very high heat because of the vacuum tubes, very slow, unreliable, large in size, non-portable, very expensive in terms of the memory. So therefore, the first generation computers has lot of problems because of the vacuum tubes. But these problems are solved in the second generation by using transistors. These transistors were developed by the J. Bardeen, H.W. Brittain, and W. Shockley. These three people developed these transistors, which is very small and which is very fast and reliable. So therefore, unlike first generation, the second generation computers are fast and very small and have the good. So the second generation computers are very small because of the transistors. So this is the transistor. And again, as we discussed previously, first generation we had the assembly language and the machine language. Now remember, this assembly language and the machine language, we call them as low-level languages. Low-level languages. Why we call them as low-level languages? When the developer is going to develop the program, they must know the lowest level. So that means if the user is going to write a program in the machine language and assembly language, they must have good knowledge in the hardware. That's the lowest level. But the second generation, this problem is solved by using the high level languages. In second generation, they had used the high level languages like Fortran and the COBOLs. Fortran is used for the formula translation. COBOL is used for the business organization. So therefore, in the second generation, we have these high level languages, that is, one is the Fortran, other one is the COBOL. But remember, when you write the program in the high level languages, computer cannot understand. Therefore, this high level language codes must be converted into low level or machine code. So that is done by, based on the language, we may have an interpreter or we may have a compiler. By using those, we can convert the program codes from high level to low level so that computer can understand. So these are some second generation computers. Then when you come to third generation, main technology is IC, integrated circuits. So here inside the ICT there can be thousands of transistors. So therefore computer size was further reduced. Computer speed is further increased in third generation because of the integrated circuits. And the third generation they had used the time sharing also. What is time sharing? Time sharing means if the machine has only one CPU, as you know earlier we had only one CPU in the machines. No multi-core or multi-processors are not there. So when there's a one CPU, how do you run the many applications concurrently? Let's say, assume you have only one CPU in your machine, but once you start your computer, you may run web browser, email application, Microsoft Word, lot of things will be executed. Then we need to understand how computer is going to run these programs in parallel. A single CPU can do this by the time sharing. So time sharing means you run the one program for some time period, and then stop, go to the next program, and go to the next program. Again we take on the first program. Then you can see there's a time period where the process 1 is not running. Process 1 is not running. But remember, since the CPU is very fast, some millions of instructions can be executed per second. Therefore, since the CPU is very fast, when you take this time gap, then this time gap is very small, too small. We are not sensitive to identify the time gap because of it is too small. Then you can see this value will be very small. Then it looks like P1 is running always without running P2 and P3. The reason is that the time gap between the two process execution is very small. So since it is very small, we are not sensitive to identify that gap. Therefore, you may feel that programs are running continuously. But the time sharing we'll discuss in detail under the operating system. Just get some rough idea here. So these are some of the computers in third generation. In the fourth generation, we have the large scale integrated circuit, so what we call the microprocessor. Now the computer size is further reduced, speed is further increased. So in the Intel, the 4004 is the first microprocessor for the Intel organization. So these are some of the machines in the fourth generation. And in the first generation, they had the GUI, graphical user interface based operating systems, where the Windows icon menus are there. In the previous operating system, we didn't find any Windows icon menus. Then the last or present generation, 1989 to present. The first generation, the main technology is ultra large scale integration. And again, the main concept they want to involve is AI, artificial intelligence. They need to develop the system which can think similar to the human. So you will see that currently some of the developments are already done in this domain